Welcome to IAS project. In this video, let's talk about economy during early Vedic period. Let's talk about the different occupations that were existing during early Vedic period. We must remember that occupation of people was not based on birth during early Vedic period. This is very important from the point of view of prelims, because when we study about later Vedic period, there we will learn that occupation was more or less based on the birth. For example, in later Vedic period, if there was a potter, then his sons would also become potters. If there was a carpenter, then his sons would also become carpenters. But this was not the case during early Vedic period. Different members of family could take different occupations during early Vedic period. In fact, in Rig Veda there was a sukta which mentions this exact sentence. So during Rig Veda, people were mainly practicing pastoralism. And after pastoralism, the next important occupation was agriculture. Other than pastoralism and agriculture, there were also carpenters, chariot makers, weavers, leather workers, metal workers, potters, and other artisans. In Rig Veda, the word for metal was ayas. And during this time, iron was probably not invented. That is why ayas usually meant copper and bronze. However, ayas was a general term which meant metal during this period. This is also very important because when we talk about later Vedic period, there we will learn that ayas in later Vedic period means iron. But during early Vedic period, ayas meant metal in general. Because they were not having iron, metal simply meant copper and bronze during this time. And the metal worker or smith was basically called as karmara. As I told you before, you don't need to remember all these words. I will give you a list of important Sanskrit words in the notes that I provide you for the Aryan culture. In Rig Vedic period, goldsmiths and silversmiths were also present, and these people were making gold and silver ornaments. Potters were also present, and they were making various type of pottery. There were also carpenters who were making chariots and plows. Please note that the chariot making was very important occupation during early Vedic period. And chariot makers were respected by the society, which means that chariot makers were considered as higher class. And carpenter is called as takshan in the Vedic literature. So occupation was not based on birth. Moreover, different members of family could take different occupations. What does this mean? This basically means that there was social mobility in the Rig Vedic society. What do we mean by social mobility? Let's try to understand with a modern example. Let's say there is a rickshaw puller, and this rickshaw puller has a son. Let's say that son has become a professional. For example, like doctor or lawyer, or let's say a government servant like IAS or IPS. This kind of situation simply means that compared to the parents, the children are having better prospects and better opportunities. This is nothing but social mobility. So compared to the parents, children have the opportunity to get better social status. Obviously, doctor, lawyer and IAS or IPS are respected more than rickshaw puller in our societies. This is the meaning of social mobility. So this kind of social mobility was possible during early Vedic period. When we talk about later Vedic period, there we will learn that occupation was based on birth. So hypothetically speaking, if there was a rickshaw puller during later Vedic period, then his children could not become doctors or lawyers or IAS or anything. They could only become rickshaw pullers. So we can say that during later Vedic period, social mobility was highly restricted. But during early Vedic period, social mobility was possible and people could take different occupations as they liked. Let's talk about the trade during early Vedic period. Initially, the trade was conducted on barter system because during early Vedic period, there was no concept of money. And I told you before, barter system is nothing but equivalent exchange of goods. For example, I will give you 2 cows and you give me 1 horse. This is nothing but barter system. No money is involved in this system. When you study barter system in your economic syllabus, there you will learn that barter system exists only when there is a double coincidence of wants. Double coincidence of wants means, like in the previous example, if I want to sell you 2 cows and I want 1 horse in return, only then the deal will happen. If you don't want cows or if I don't want horse, the deal will not happen. So the wants of both people should be satisfied. Even if one person is not willing to deal, then there will be no deal. So this kind of disadvantage was actually removed by invention of money. Let's try to understand with the same example. If you don't want to take 2 cows, then you will simply say, give me this much money. And using that money, you will go to some other person and give that money and buy whatever you want. So this is about your economic syllabus. So initially the trade was based on barter system. However, later what happened was these people also used what is called as niksha, especially for large transactions. And niksha was basically a gold ornament. Most probably it was not a gold coin, but in some books you will find that niksha was a gold coin that was existing during Rig Vedic period. So in case if there is a question in the prelims exam that niksha was a gold coin from Rig Vedic period, then that would be correct. Although most probably there was no concept of coins during Rig Vedic period. Probably it was a gold ornament, and this gold ornament was given in exchange for large transactions. Please remember that this kind of niksha gold coin or gold ornament, it was not used in day-to-day transactions. So we can say that Rig Vedic period economy was not based on niksha or any coin. It was mainly a barter system where people exchanged goods based on double coincidence of wants. Moreover, the donations and fees that were given to priests were mainly cows and women. They were not money and they were not niksha coins. Especially, land was not given to priests in the form of donations or fees. Donations is nothing but dana and fees is nothing but dakshina. This is also very important. So the donations and fees given to priests were only cows as well as women slaves. It was not land. In early Vedic period, traders were also present. However, the activity of trade was very limited. Mainly, there were people called as pani who were doing the trade activity. Pani were basically caravan traders, and these people conducted long distance trade over land route. We already talked about pani. These people were considered as enemies of Aryans. Mainly because these people did not follow Vedic culture. They were not offering sacrifices and they were also not respecting the priests of Aryans. That is why they were considered as enemies by Aryans. We must note that the word pan means barter. That is why pani were mainly barter traders who were conducting long distance trade. At the same time, we must note that trade and commerce was very small. So people were mainly living on subsistence basis. Subsistence basis means whatever you grow, you're going to eat that. Whatever you make, you're going to use that. That kind of living or that kind of economy. So even for this small amount of trade and commerce, transportation system was used. They used bullock carts, horse-drawn carts like tonga. They also used chariots and they also traded using riverine routes. They mainly used boats for river-based transport. Another very important point is that private property did not exist during early Vedic period. This is very important. So the land, water, forests and all other resources were basically owned by the entire clan. There was no private property. People built their houses on the clan land. Let's talk about some other aspects also. Cattle were also used to get water from the wells. And this water was used for irrigation in agriculture. And these people used pulleys. So basically, if this was, let's say, a well and this is all water, something like this kind of arrangement. So they used these cattle in order to get water from the well using pulleys. Moreover, we have studied that there was no concept of taxation during early Vedic period. Since money did not exist, the only possibility was that cereals could be given as taxation. But this was also not there because pastoralism was very important in early Vedic period. So people were mainly raising cattle. Agriculture was done by very less number of people. So taxation in the form of food grains was also not there during early Vedic period. However, we have studied that there were voluntary contributions which were called as bali. Very important. So Aryans were regularly fighting non-Aryans, whom they called as dasyus. And when they captured these dasyus, they made them slaves. So slaves existed in early Vedic society, but wage labor did not exist in early Vedic society. I just told you that IAS in Rig Veda meant metal. If we want to particularly talk about copper, copper was called as Lohita Ayas. This is also an important fact you can remember for prelims. So in Rig Veda, Ayas meant metal, but during later Vedic period, Ayas meant iron. This is also very important because during early Vedic period, iron tools were not invented, but in later Vedic period, iron tools were invented. That is why Ayas came to mean iron. Iron was also called as Sharma Ayas. Please note that this name was used only in later Vedic period. This was not there in early Vedic period because iron was not there in early Vedic period. So mostly iron implements were not used in Rig Vedic period or early Vedic period. But iron was discovered towards the end of later Vedic period. Somewhere around 1100 BCE, iron was discovered in India. So 1100 BCE means towards the end of Rig Vedic period. So iron tools were made towards the end of Rig Vedic period and they became very important for the later Vedic period. Using these iron tools in later Vedic period, people easily cleared forests by cutting down trees and then they started agriculture on large scale. All this happened in later Vedic period because of iron tools and iron plowshare. But iron tools were not present in early Vedic period. So by the end of early Vedic period, people cut down forests using iron tools and also this land has been brought under cultivation using iron plowshare. Please note that I am saying end of early Vedic period here. This simply means later Vedic period. If we talk about the world level, then during Rig Vedic culture, that is nothing but during this period 1500 BCE to 1000 BCE, iron smelting was known in Anatolia. I told you Anatolia is nothing but Turkey which lies in the part of Asia. I also told you the Turkey that lies in the part of Europe is called as Thrace. So during this period, iron smelting was known in Anatolia. Here basically Hittite kings were ruling and these Hittite kings tried to keep this as a secret. That is why iron smelting outside Anatolia was very late. Please try to answer this question. With reference to early Vedic period, Lohita Ayas meant what? Is it iron? Is it copper? Is it gold? Or is it silver? The next question is, consider the below pairs regarding occupations in early Vedic period. So 3 pairs have been given here and the question is, which of the above pairs are correct? The first pair is Karmara was called as smith. The second pair is Takshan was called as carpenter. And the third pair is Pani was a caravan trader. If you know the answer to these questions, please answer in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. You can download this presentation from our Telegram channel. The name of the channel is IAS Project. The link for this channel is given in the description section below. Thank you.